You know, sometimes changes happen, and that's okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I'm Andrew. Today I got another video for you, but before we get to that video, make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, make sure you're checking that description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord, as well as information about my Patreon and links to all of my social media. And guys, this is more of an addendum to my December wrap-up, because I filmed that due to some a death in my family about 10 days earlier than I should have, and wild changes occurred. I had a DNF in there. Like I said, I was going to read Homeland. I did not. It didn't age very well, and I didn't think there were some like cultural inconsistencies within the narrative that I wasn't really grasping, and I kind of DNF'd that at 40%. Because I had room, I decided to read Reaper Man. This is the 11th book in the Discworld hierarchy, and the second book in the Death Collection. I really enjoyed this. It was a huge step up for me over Mort. It still was a bit weird. There was one storyline in here that I just felt didn't quite work for me. But the other two storylines that were going is absolutely fantastic. Basically, Death is missing. Presumed gone. And yeah, I absolutely loved that. There was just so many great characters, so many humorous moments here that I really enjoyed this book. So yes, and then because I still had time after that DNF, I went ahead and also read The Emperor's Soul, which is in this collection of Arcanum Unbounded. Unbounded? Yeah, Bounded. For some reason I wanted to say Unbonded, and I know that was wrong. So I read The Emperor's Soul. Absolutely fantastic novella. Probably one of the best novellas I've read in a long time. I do want to get to Mistborn's Secret History in the next couple of months, just so I can kind of look at this and say, hey, I've read most everything in here. There's, of course, a couple short stories that I would need to get to, but at least all the novellas would be, taken care of and done. So I fit that in. That was a 5-star novella for me. Absolutely gorgeous. And then some changes. Also, I didn't mention in my wrap-up, I didn't make it to The Hammer by K.J. Parker. I don't believe I mentioned this. I think K.J. Parker is an author that's just going to have to wait until either later this year or 2023. I plan on keep the channel going for at least through 2023. I don't see anything that would cause me to stop the channel before then, so you can look forward to some K.J. Parker content in 2023 at the very latest. It was just, I got into a weird kind of reading mood, and that led me into changing and starting to read what became my book of the year, which is, of course, Dragon Mage. Now, around the time that this video is coming out, I'll, of course, be having my Dragon Mage review. You'll have seen my top 10 books of the year, which this, of course, takes the #1 slot. Guys, this was absolutely fantastic. Very personal story for me. Aram, the main character, is autistic. I do have Asperger's. And I am on the autistic spectrum. And so I really identified and really enjoyed a protagonist that, faces these struggles and has to overcome a lot of anxieties and the feeling of being different from a lot of people. And just, this was a very personal read for me. It did have a couple character inconsistencies. It had some pacing issues. But that aside, I'll say in my top 10 list, it felt like M.L. Spencer reached into my brain and then just took out my daydreams and put them in a book on what it would be like to be a fantasy protagonist. And this is it. I loved it. And then I had mentioned in my wrap-up that I was, halfway through Dragon Keeper, and, a Hob book doesn't really start until halfway. And this was probably my most disappointing read of 2021. And I don't have words for how disappointed I was with this. And right now I'm currently in the middle of Dragon Haven, and that is also incredibly disappointing. I am holding out hope and just fingers crossed that the second 2 books, or the second half of the Rainwalker Chronicles, really jumps up in quality, because right now, like, there's just nothing going for it, in my opinion. Which is really just upsetting because Tawny Man and Live Ship Traders and Farseer are just absolutely phenomenal series, and Rain Wild just fell flat on its face for me so far. Giving you an update on the Lotlands trilogy. I read the second book in this, and I think I had mentioned I hadn't started this one yet at the time of filming of my wrap-up. And this was a solid 3.5 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed Fetching's story and her struggles with the hoof, but I felt that, like, it was just a bit much. Like, it was really convoluted, and to the point where we get, like, a chapter to a half a chapter monologue where she has to explain and piece it all together on everything that's happened within the series. And I was just like, I didn't really need that. I would have rather had a much more straightforward story where I, the reader, could piece it together instead of having the author, spell it out for me. And so for that reason, that made me sad. So let's talk about some changes to the TBR, because I did have Homeland, because I DNF'd the Dark Elf trilogy. I had the next 2 books already on the TBR, and I had done a video, help me choose a backlisted fantasy. That was the winner. I ended up DNFing it, so I will be having a help video upcoming to help me choose another series from when I've got room to slot that in. And so I ended up slotting in David Gemmell's King Beyond the Gate. This is the second book in Draenei. I enjoyed it. I've already read this one. It was a 4 out of 5 for me in my January TBR. I slotted it in my January TBR, not a 4 out of 5 for my January. I don't know what that statement was. Ignore it. But guys, like, it was really good. This felt a lot like a Legend reskin. Like, he just wrote Legend again. It reuses a lot of the same themes. A lot of the characters are mentioned, because this takes place 100 years later. But a lot of the same locations, a lot of the same titles, sex, everything just all feels the same. It's the same structure. You find the love interest really early on in the book, and they just fall head over heels in love, like that. And so it's just a lot of the same beats, and so it was 4 out of 5. I'm hoping Waylander is a change of pace. I wanted to read Waylander this month or next month. I don't think I'm going to get to it. But yeah, so I read that. And then because I read Reaper Man, I now have room in my January TBR for soul music. I almost said Soul Reaper, which isn't right. That's an anime. And so Soul Music, I'm hoping to read this in January. I'm super excited for that. I've also started reading this month The Bone Makers by Sarah Beth Durst. I have had this ebook for like 4 or 5 months, and my patron Cody sent me the first Queen of Renthia book. And so I was just like, do I want to start a trilogy by this author first, or do I want to try a standalone? And it's a pretty short standalone. I was like, let me try the standalone first, and then that way I have an idea of what to expect, and then I can fit in Queens of Renthia into my TBR appropriately, because I know how much I enjoy the author. And I have to say, so far I'm really enjoying The Bone Makers. I think I'm 20% into that book, and I started like last night. It's a very, very quick read. And then my last little bit of an addendum is I am hoping to fit in She Dreams in Blood in January as well, which I know that's a lot to put on myself for this month, because frankly I've got a lot to read, but these are pretty short books, and so since I've already got Blackstone Heart on the TBR, I figured I'd just knock out the duology to kind of make room to start wrapping stuff up as I proceed. That's it, guys. That is everything that I've got for my addendum to my December wrap-up and my January TBR. So thanks for sticking with me. I know I filmed that way too early last time. I just didn't want to forget anything that I had meant to talk about on the channel when it came time to do January's wrap-up. So till next time, guys, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.